time to actually look at whether or not cantanolism could be classed as a cult. Chris did have followers, but claims that cantanolism was a religion rather than a cult. I feel that cult is often a word that is overused and misused, which is important because if we start calling any kind of group a cult, then it kind of lessens the impact of the word, and people might not take a genuine cult so seriously. Let's take a look at a checklist of cult characteristics and see how many apply to cantanolism. The group is focused on a living leader to whom members seem to display excessively jealous and questionable commitment. Yes. The group is preoccupied with bringing in new members. Yes. The group is preoccupied with making money. No, but money is indirectly relevant to recruitment of new followers. Questioning, doubt, and dissent are discouraged or even punished. Yes. Mind-numbing techniques such as meditation, chanting, speaking in tongues, denunciation sessions, debilitating work routines are used to suppress doubts about the group and its leader. Not exactly, but drug use could possibly fall under this, and he offered to pay for his followers to visit him, so maybe this had something to do with it. The leadership dictates sometimes in great detail how members should think, act and feel. For example, members must get permission from leaders to date, change jobs, get married. Leaders may prescribe what perfect clothes to wear, where to live, how to discipline children, and so forth. Chris does dictate how followers should think and act, but I don't think they have to get permission from him to make their own life decisions. The group is elitist, claiming a special exalted status for itself, its leader and members. For example, the leader is considered a messiah or an avatar. The group and/or the leader has a special mission to save humanity. Yes, Chris claimed he was the second coming, and some of his followers referred to him as a god. He also believed he needed to save the world from the aliens. The group has a polarised us versus them mentality, which causes conflict within the wider society. Yes. The group's leader is not accountable to any authorities, as are, for example, military commanders and ministers, priests, monks, and rabbis of mainstream denominations. Yes. The group teaches or implies that its supposed exalted ends justify means that members would have considered unethical before joining the group, for example, collecting money for bogus charities. Somewhat, he also emphasises doing what you want in every moment, which could potentially lead to unethical behaviours. Ethics aside though, he definitely promotes things that most people think were dangerous. The leadership induces guilt feelings in members in order to control them. Yes, he even faked his own death on Twitter a while back to manipulate his followers. Members' subservience to the group causes them to cut ties with family and friends and give up personal goals and activities that were of interest before joining the group. Potentially, you can definitely see how that might happen, but I don't necessarily think that was for his intentions. Members are encouraged or required to live and/or socialise only with other members of the group. Not really, but Chris did offer to pay for his followers to come visit him and said that he wished he had the space for thousands of homeless people to live on his land, some of whom have been drawn in by his beliefs and claims. So overall, I don't think it would be unreasonable to call cantanolism a cult. It checks most of the main boxes. For some time, cantanolism grew. However, as I said before, it was clear that some of the followers weren't sticking around hoping to gain from Chris. After some time, though, Chris realised this and stopped sending people money.
I'm not sending out money to people anymore.
Christine, quite exactly how huge a moron are you? How lazy and stupid can you be?
Do what I must.
No one wants to hear you're a miserable, lazy idiot. Now purify yourself and shut up. Get off your lazy, non-committal. Make a difference. Stop creating plastic. Stop being stupid. Make a difference. Call your local newspaper. Get them to get off and make a difference. I've had it. You guys are idiots.
He was caught up multiple times using alternate accounts to manipulate his followers and took action against people who tried to expose him. He would snap like a moody teenager on Reddit or Twitter, and speaking of teenagers, that's the demographic that he targeted for his cult, which is pretty worrying. Teenagers are more likely to be indoctrinated, especially when they're being showered with gifts. There were also reports that Chris had been inappropriate with some of his young followers. I'm yet to see any proof of that, or at least proof of anything illegal, but he probably did cross boundaries. I don't want to mislead here. Again, I haven't seen any proof that he actually came on to any teenagers or made any suggestive comments in relation to himself, but according to some ex-followers, he did overstep the mark a bit. A post was made on RBI from a teenager who got to know Chris through all this. They actually had a somewhat positive view of him and didn't believe Cantelmoism was a cult. So it does seem that they might have been manipulated, as Chris apparently told them that they were his best friend and that one time he almost ended his life, but they saved him. That's a lot to put on a teenager and does sound potentially manipulative. I'm not saying there aren't situations where an adult and a teenager can be friends on some level and there's nothing more to it, but there's definitely something a bit weird about a guy in his 50s making a habit of befriending teenagers and telling them this kind of stuff. In order to gain insight into the situation, I contacted a user on Reddit who was one of Chris's followers to ask them a few questions. Here's the conversation we had.
Llegó mi McDonald's, el programa de beneficios de Mac. Es McDonald's y punto.
El control de tus noches, nosotros buenas noches Maxi Overnight. Bondad que evita irritaciones.
At what point did you become a follower? When I got my first platinum. How old are you? Turning 17 in 2